It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Friday, January 5th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Until the End with Daniel Baker, the Wednesday message word study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, it is Friday. It is the weekend. It is the end of the first week of January. Well, it won't be the end until Sunday, but for this podcast, it is the end of the first week of January. I hope you guys are excited and happy. A lot of things going on, giving glory to God. The days of giving glory right now until the 15th. Don't forget, we have Q&A every single Thursday, so get those questions ready and send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, leave a like and comment to build our community. Just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive, so let's get up and support each other each and every day. Yes, put that like in for today's video. Let's see how many likes we can get for today's Friday podcast. The Sunday message title, Those Who Reach the End by Taking Action Until the End. Great message this week and great Wednesday service too. And we will go over that the Wednesday message today in the second segment, right? So it's the last podcast for the first week of 2024. I just really love how things are turning out so easily for the podcast this year. First, it's basically the Monday is the beginning of each week, right? So January 1st was Monday, which means Sunday is always the end of the week. And then whenever we have the Monday podcast, it always begins a brand new week in 2024. So that's kind of cool and easy for all of us to know how many weeks we are in. The second thing is, like I said, 1,000th episode is on the last day of Giving Glory to God, January 15th. So just a reminder for all you guys out there, please send me those testimonies or videos. Remember, it can either be a video. Today, I'm going to tell you something kind of cool. I'm quite excited about today's segment with Daniel for Until the End because he's recording it on video. On video in Bali. Okay, so he's in Bali, and even on vacation, he is spending his time to do his segment. I am super excited and happy about that too. He's doing such a great and awesome job. So big shout outs to Daniel. If you're on SoundCloud, you will only hear his voice, but everyone on YouTube will see his face. And I'd have to say, even as a guy, he is a good looking guy. So yeah, you could take a look what he looks like. If you haven't seen him before, he is, you'll see him on the last video today. So how was I bringing that up? Oh, yeah. I brought it up because, I was thinking wow, he did it on video, and the sound can be a little bit better. He just needs a better mic for the sound. But overall, I'm like, wow, it'd be kind of cool to have our 1,000th video starting off our video podcasts. That would be kind of cool, and I would really, really enjoy that also. So that is something that I am very much thinking about right now at this moment, is doing video podcasts, right? But if you can, for those testimonies or videos, it'd be great. It could be audio or video or text. But you can share your testimony of, something how MSD has helped you, or a short video of congratulating the Morning Star Drive on getting to 1,000 episodes, right? So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that today is something brand new that Daniel's trying out, is a video episode. So I am looking forward to that, absolutely. 2024, being here in Malaysia, there's a large amount of Chinese people here, but this year is the year of the dragon, right? So when we think of the year of the dragon, who are we thinking about? We're thinking about Bruce Lee. No, I'm just kidding. Just my generation, because we know him. He is, they call him the dragon, right? Dragon Bruce Lee. But it is the year of the dragon, and they say that this year is a year of evolution, improvement, and abundance, which is kind of cool, and it's the perfect year for rejuvenated beginnings, which is something that we all want here in Providence. I am not a dragon, I am a horse. right? So my Chinese zodiac is a horse. I'm not sure what yours is. Guys, put in the comments below what's your Chinese zodiac. I am a horse, and for me, this year is I'm going to enjoy this year. It says because I'm going to be very socially active, and it has been like that. I've been traveling around a lot, meeting a lot of people, and opportunities for professional growth. Professional growth, guys. So that's kind of cool. And this says collaboration will benefit me. And yeah, personally, I don't really believe in this stuff. I'm just going to tell you guys straight up. I also know that a lot of it is generalized and a lot of it is done by statistics and stuff like that too. But that's why it is kind of right, because it'll generally be right. But it's just fun to tease myself and tease people about their Chinese zodiac and like what their fortune's going to be like this year. So that's just me as the horse. I don't know. If anyone wants to do a podcast on just the Chinese zodiac, that would actually be kind of cool. We've already done MBTI, but if we had like one on the Chinese zodiac, because there are, those guys don't know, the Chinese zodiac gets really intricate. Like how intricate is it? It's like you also have an element. Like I'm a wooden horse. No, I'm an earth horse. That's what it is. There's like wood, earth, air, fire, water. There's these 5 elements, and every year is a different element. So I know that I'm an earth horse, I believe. I'm an earth horse. I'm not sure if you guys know all that. Like, there's directions and stuff like that too. It gets really, really complicated. I'm not sure if anyone knows the Chinese zodiac really, really well. And apparently it's a great year for horses this year. So just want to let you guys know it's a good year for me. It's a good year for roosters too, which is Sunsteam also. So yeah, I like I said, I don't believe it, but if it's something that gives good news, like, hey, guess what? You're going to be rich this year. I'm going to be like, yay, I'm going to take it. I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to manifest it through my thoughts. Like, yes, I'm going to be rich this year or something along that line. But yeah, I don't know. Do any of you guys really I'm not going to say believe, but do you guys follow the Chinese horoscope or like just regular horoscopes, tarot cards, or, because I know people do it for fun. When I was in Korea, they would ask me, like, when's your birthday, this, and this? What's going to happen for you this year? And they have these apps and stuff that tell you about your fortune and stuff. And, you know, obviously we're joking around and laughing about it. But it's quite interesting. I was thinking about this for a bit. I'm going to tell you guys this. There's been a question that everyone's been kind of asking me indirectly and privately in conversation. Right? Like, you know, as we have conversations, I talk to people, stuff like that. One thing that eventually comes up is, so what are you going to do about marriage? Like, you know, because remember, it came up last year. It was a really, really big thing. And of course, and for me, you know, you guys know that I'm very open and stuff like that too. And all the people that ask me, they say it very nicely, respectfully, and kindly, and in jest, like it's a joke and stuff like that, or they'll say it, you know, lightheartedly. So for me, it doesn't really bother me. I know that people's intentions are not to hurt or to say bad things, right? And you know, they're not just trying to get like gossip out of me or something like that, right? But now that everything is over, 2023 is over. I met a friend the other day, and they genuinely asked if I still plan on getting married, right? So this is my answer to them. Mind your own business. Why do you care so much about me? Care about yourself. No, I'm just kidding. I don't say stuff like that. I totally didn't say that. So, you know, you guys know me. I when it comes to these bigger decisions, I'm a little bit more, I thought about this very deeply. Especially in September when that Sunday message came out and Jesus gave that revelation that was very, very strong, right? And let me tell you, because you guys know that I'm very rational and I try to be rational, reasonable. I try my best, right? And this is something that I looked back at over the past like a year and a half from when the announcement was made, when KJS said, oh, you should get married, this type of thing, right? And this is something that I noticed over the past year or over this past year and a half. And it's kind of something that I realized that's very normal, or not normal. That's what society is actually like in general, right? And it's kind of everyone really just follows what everyone else is doing. And people make decisions more based on emotion rather than a reasonable and rational decision, right? So let me give you an example of what I noticed when it came to like, you know, that announcement of stars getting married, stuff like that, right? So when the male phase stars, when a bunch of us heard about KJS telling guys to get married, you know, we listened to it, And it was kind of a wild time because it's like, what the heck? When did this happen? Did Sunseam actually say this? And we didn't even say that. It was like Sunseam told her to say this, right? So we're like, oh, this is what Sunseam said. And I'm gonna tell you guys, like, if I give you a good example of how people get really emotional and do things in a very very emotional or irrational way, is remember, like, say in March last year when KJS and the whole spiritual Oppenheimer happened. Right? People didn't try to investigate more or confirm anything. It's just, or like politely explain to each other or allow people to kind of figure things out. It was kind of wild in Korean stuff. People were yelling, getting mad at each other. I was even called someone, there's rumors about me because on my podcast, remember I told everyone, hey guys, let's wait for confirmation. Let's just wait to see if this information is right or wrong. We don't want to jump on the bandwagon, right? So when I told people to hold off and wait for more information, people were saying that I was on KJS's side and that I left Providence, right? It was very emotional and reckless. Like, there were times where people were telling me in Korea that leaders were saying to them, I want you to curse KJS now. If you don't curse her, you're on her side, kind of thing. And it's kind of like, what? Like, that's kind of crazy, right? But, we know how wild it was in Korea. But, so like, you can see how people get very, very emotional about things. But when KJS made the announcement for Stars to get married, I purposely told no one anything for about 2 months. Except until I really made a decision, and I only told like close friends. Because I know that in such a sensitive time, people can easily get influenced by others. And, they'll be like, oh, even Sky is doing this. So, and then it will influence people. So I never told people, like the general public, for like 2 months. So I would stay out of it for a while and not give any answer because I just don't want to influence people. I want to do this on my own, right? But during that time, people were trying to convince stars to get married, which is interesting, right? And all of a sudden, all these stars were getting married. It was a hot topic. Most of the male stars in Korea actually signed up for marriage. It's like 95% of them. So there was this time when everyone was, joining and saying, okay, well, this is what Sunseam wants. We're gonna start doing this. People were trying to convince each other and stuff like that also. And for myself, I prayed. And I waited for some type of revelation, and I kept it quiet for the first 2 months because I didn't want to influence anyone else about it, right? So, and then, of course, a lot of stuff got delayed. Then the spiritual Oppenheimer happened, and, people weren't thinking about it as much. And then, of course, September 17th was the message that Sunseam gave, right? And Jesus' revelation came out, and it was very strong about don't get married kind of thing, right? And then everything swung back the other way. And what I noticed was that after everyone heard that message on Sunday, people were shocked by it, how strong the message was. And then guess what happened? Then everyone rides that wave of emotion and people are saying, oh, you can't get married. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, I knew it. Like people were going on that side. Okay. Now, I'm not saying everyone was like that, but it was a general feeling. Now, you guys know me and my style. I don't like to react or overreact to the best of my ability, especially on a topic this big that affects the rest of my life. So I saw, when I looked back, I was like, wow, when it was told for us to do it, we're all like, rah. And then when we're told not to do it, we're all like, rah, right? So there was a frenzy both ways. Both ways it was. So for me, when I heard everything in September 17th, I was like, all right, I don't want to make a decision when my mind is emotional. Or like there's a big wave of people saying that, oh, you have to do it like this. So my decision was not to make any decision at all until 2023 was over, that I just wanted to focus on 2023, make sure that 2023 was done really well because it's a very, very important year. I didn't want to think about it at all. I didn't want to get influenced by emotions, trends, other people. So I just let it go. Right? So I decided not to make any major life choices in 2023, but finish the year really well and then come back to this decision in 2024. So that was the kind of decision I made, right? So now it's it's much easier for me now. Why? Because I'm not emotional about it. I didn't just listen to the September 17th message or a revelation from Jesus and all these other different things that happen. I'm totally not emotional about any of those things. No one is trying to influence me. And I have a very clear heart and mind to think of this situation properly. And it's much easier to make big decisions when your heart is still and not moving around or stressed by something else. So yeah, for me, I'm in no rush. I have to make the decision right now. But because now I'm in a situation where my mind is very, very clear. All the things have passed in 2023. But I do want to make up my mind clearly and strongly with no regrets, right? And, I'm bringing this up because I thought it was quite interesting that people were asking me about it, like even now, right? But I think people are more comfortable asking me now because 2023 is over, right? Some people hint at it sometimes too, and they make a joke out of it. But you know me, guys. I'm the reasonable and rational dude. So it's for me is like, yeah. Now that all the things have passed, all the emotion has passed by. For me, it's very, very easy now for me to think about it, right? And to really pray about it with a clear heart, right? Not when it's all of a sudden like, okay, you got to do it. Okay, don't do it kind of thing. I'm just like, nah, I'm going to wait on this. I'm going to end 2023 really, really well. And now that everything is over, we're pushing on into a new year and we kind of have a new mindset, a fresh new mindset because it is 2024, a brand new year. This is when I'm going to, I'll make my, I'll pray about it very carefully and stuff like that too. So for me, that's the way I go. And I think it's something that people need to deal with in their own way. You know what I mean? Like some people are going to be like, yes, I knew it. This is it. This is what I'm going to do, right? I have been thinking about this a lot already, right? Yeah, there's some people who are just ready and they understand it was the sign that they've always been praying for. And then of course others, I think a big chunk of people are going to be influenced by what is happening, all the messages and stuff. And then I think for myself, I just need time. And for me is like there's no rush. There's nothing that I'm thinking about or, it's just not in my heart and my mind. And now I can just really pray about it and see things from a very reasonable and rational perspective. If that makes sense. That makes sense, doesn't it? It does. Well, it makes sense to me. It may not make sense to other people, but it does make sense to me. Some people were asking me for some tips on prayer. And whenever I give tips on prayer, I usually use 2 words, and it's just honesty and sincerity. Like I would say, be honest in what you really feel and think. If you're upset, tell God you're upset and why you're upset. If you're frustrated, tell God. If you're angry, tell God. If you've sinned, be honest and just say why you did it. Like just be honest. Like I think that's something that God really wants from us is our true hearts, right? He wants our honesty. And then sincerity is like, do you really mean what you're saying? Which means don't just say a bunch of words or don't just rattle off and say, oh God, but I was thinking about this, but I'm not sure. No, be very deliberate with the words that you use and be sincere with them. And those are the 2 things that I would really say are the 2 words that I use when it comes to prayer. And I would say one more thing is just as it's hard for us to have a conversation with someone if they're not right in front of our face. Like if someone is right in front of us, sitting right in front of us, it's very easy to have a conversation. But when there's no one there, sometimes it's harder. So I would say prayer is hard when you don't think that God is right in front of you, right? It's like when you're praying, close your eyes and imagine God is right in front of you, right? And then once your mind is in that type of zone where God is right there, then I think it's much, much easier to pray. Yeah, so that would be kind of my tips and advice for, for prayer, like at this time, if you're restarting, if you want to get to another level. So, right now, I think one of the things that I was thinking about also is like, Sansi was saying in the message that right now is a time to, have hope and love with the Holy Trinity, give thanks and be joyful. And the one thing that came to me is like, yeah, being joyful. I think being joyful is something we sometimes forget. Or maybe it's just because we're too serious. And 2023 was really serious anyways, but I think sometimes we just need to relax and enjoy being in the presence of God. I think that is something that is very, very important for us. Like just being joyful that we are in the history of God. Like that's something to be joyful about. It's joyful that God has chosen us. Being joyful that we are still here. We survived 2023. Like that's a lot of things to be joyful about. And I hope we don't forget about these things and not get too serious all the time. Like me, I'm the flip side. I am too joyful and sometimes I need to get more serious. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I was thinking about is like, yeah, don't forget to be joyful. All right, so I got a couple of questions for Q&A Thursday, but they're a little bit late, but I did want to bring it up. The first question was from Matthew chapter 24, verse 40 and 41, right? And Matthew 24, 40, 41, this is actually one of those scary verses when I was growing up as a Christian. So what it says is, it says, 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a handmill, one will be taken and the other left. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know on what day the Lord will come, right? So this is about the Lord's second coming, that if you're not ready for the Lord's second coming, then, remember when, Christianity believes that the body will fly into the sky, like literally fly into the air, right? So it's like, oh no, I'm left behind. And there's movies that were made about this called Left Behind. What's going to happen to the people that didn't get raptured and stuff like that too. So it was considered a very, very scary verse. Now, what does it actually mean, right? 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, the other left. Now, when we first were teaching about the rapture, before Sunseam realized even more deeply about it, it was just saying that when the Lord's second coming comes, because now we know that people are not literally getting raptured, but we're getting raptured or resurrected to a new level, from sons to brides, from children to brides. We're being resurrected from New Testament to complete Testament kind of thing, right? So when we first originally learned this, we're learning that what does it mean? One will be caught up and the other left behind. It means that, like, let's just say there's 2 people, it says 2 men in the field, one's caught up, one's left behind, is 2 men in the field, and, one is listening to the words of Jesus, and the other one is just stays as, goes to the synagogues and listens to the religious leaders. And that at a certain moment, what's going to happen is that one of those guys who's listening to Jesus' word, something clicks and he realizes Jesus is the Messiah. And that means that this person is caught up, right? Reaches a new level. They turn from son to bride. You know what I mean? Like, so that being caught up, or one will be taken, the other left behind, means that one will reach the new time period. One will become have a new relationship with God and the other won't. Okay? And then in 2012, 2013, when Sunseam realized even more deeply about the rapture, the one will be caught up, one will be left behind. The meaning was it is the same person. And what happens on the day of the rapture, we know, is that the spirit is caught up into the golden city and the body is left behind. So we all know that during the rapture time, it's our spirits that rapture up into heaven, go into the golden city, while our bodies are making ourselves even more each and every day. Right? So that is the meaning of Matthew chapter 24, verse 40 and 41. Right? The second question is Matthew chapter 16, verse 4, and it refers to the sign of Jonah. Okay, so Matthew chapter 16, verse 4, it says that a wicked and adulterous generation looks for a sign, but none will be given except the sign of Jonah. Jesus then left them and went away. And there are several explanations of this. Right? So the most important one that Sunseam talked about when it comes to what is the sign of Jonah, the sign of Jonah is the word, right? So the real miracle is not being caught in the belly of the whale for 3 days and surviving. That is not the real miracle. The real miracle is Jonah going to Nineveh, preaching for 40 days, and like hundreds of thousands of people are saved. Now, how many people were in Nineveh again? Was it 200,000? I think it was 200,000, or something along that line. And the real sign was Jonah preaching the words of God. The people turn and repent, and they are all saved. And we can understand that that is the greatest miracle. The greatest miracle is the sign of the word. Not so much like what is the greatest miracle Sunseam has done? Is it him healing someone from disease, and then that person eventually dies anyways? Right? Is it like, even look at Jesus? He resurrected Lazarus, but Lazarus eventually died too, right? He eventually died, like of natural causes or whatever it is, right? So what we see is the greatest miracle that we could see is actually the miracle of spiritual life, no longer going to the domain of death, but going to the domain of life, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys? The great sign of Jonah is not about the whale. The great sign of Jonah is actually about him preaching the word to Nineveh and saving everyone from dying, right? So that is the sign of Jonah. Okay, so that's the biggest one that I've heard Sunseam talk about. Sunseam does talk about sometimes about being in the belly of the whale for 3 days, and how, which basically means that he should have died, right? So Sunseam didn't actually say if it was from what I know, it's a parable, but what Sunsim said was he was supposed to die, but since he didn't, but God saved him, and then this is why after being saved, Jonah was able to go out and preach to the people and stuff like that. But the greatest sign, the sign of Jonah, is the word of God. That is the number one answer that I remember from Sunsim. It is the words of God. Okay, and if you guys have heard anything else, you can go ahead and tell me about that too. I would love to hear what you guys are talking about also. Okay, so those are a couple of things that I want to talk about today. What do you guys have planned for the weekend, the first weekend, or like ending the first week of giving glory to God and the first week of 2024? I will be getting a haircut, and the bakers will come back tonight, and then the bakers will come back tonight, and then we will head to. And then they have 3 more nights left, and I'm going to be hanging out with the bakers, right? Like I said, I'm adopted by them, so I'm an honorary baker, right? Actually, Sunsim gave them a last name too. So David Baker, like Baker is his last name, but then when Sunsim also gave him the last name Ha, like Hananim, Ha. So in Korean, their name is like Ha. Daniel's name is Shinsung, so it's Ha Shinsung, because Sunsim gave them the last name Ha. That's the first time I've ever heard that last name. Ha is Hananim, which is crazy, right? Isn't that crazy? For me, I'm just like, wow, that's, Sunsim gave them a Korean last name too. But either way. So I hope that everyone will enjoy your weekend for the first week of 2024. Hope that everyone spends the days of giving glory to God very well. And don't forget to send your testimonies or short greetings for the 1,000th episode. Would love to be posting that on my 1,000th episode. Okay, so before we get into the Wednesday message word study, let's go into the first break of the day.
2023. We've all come a long way. Many different stories, but we're all on the same journey. Many, many ups and downs, but we're all still around. Many, many, many lessons, but each one came with a blessing. Let's not forget for when we come from when we make this confession. Some people just want to watch the world burn. As for you and I, let's set ourselves on fire, shine a light so bright that will make the people say, burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for a downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life. Who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say, born sinner, never could be ill. I know I'm back from the dead, yeah, the Lord is my healer. I took the red pill, that's why I call him teacher. When you learn about the spirit, oh, there ain't nothing realer. The one you learn from determines your entire destiny. Learn from the one who taught about eternity. Cloud craving, paper chasing, the joy is only temporary. I don't wanna do the same thing, so I hard to count the vanity. I keep my eyes on the prize, I'll never sell my soul to the devil in disguise. With both hands on each side, I'm holding on to dear life. I keep my guard up, never back down. When it goes down, I call on the Christ. Spiritual battle, answer the call. It's Call of Duty, modern warfare, put the armor of God. They're fighting Lucy with a rock, I got atomic bombs. Love the Lord your God and know your brothers once your demons fall. Don't be deceived, know who the ops is. Keep the unity and peace, go far way across this. Came to preach the word of God like I'm born in Tarsus. Here to testify the things I've seen on road to Damascus. He's the real deal, the real thing, be glad you heard the King's speech. Blessed are those who reach the end and get to hear the Lord speak. GODs, POC, we fulfilled everything. Burning life, kerosene, burning life, legacy.
You will never see me stop in the future. The life that fulfills God's will continue. Everyone thinks I'm unfortunate because I go through suffering. But inside of me it's different. Because I walk the path of eternal life.
Burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for a downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say,
like Mary poured out her perfume on Jesus' feet, I must pour out my heart, mind, and love on the one who saved me.
Okay, so let's get into today's word study. And of course, every Friday is the Wednesday message word study. Lot of things to think about, especially with this week's messages. All right. So same title, those who reach the end by taking action until the end. And I hope that you guys had a really good Wednesday service and you really encouraged your pastors for all the hard work that they're doing, especially at this time. So, it was a short message for us over here in Malaysia, but a really deep one. It started off with Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. Those who stand firm to the end will be saved. And it went into the context behind the message. So why was Jesus saying this? Well, this was the final message that Jesus gave to his disciples before he went on the path of the cross. And Jesus was saying, yeah, there's going to be huge tribulation. Right? And it's like, when we generalize it like, oh, did Jesus really say there'll be huge tribulation? And if you read Matthew 24, it's like wars, earthquakes, famines, nation against nation. You'll be persecuted. Some of you will be killed for the gospel. People will come in and say that, there'll be false messiahs and false prophets. So you can see that this is huge, great tribulation that's going to happen. And what Jesus was essentially telling them was, you got to have absolute faith in me until the end, and this is how you're going to survive, right? And of course, I think it's very, very similar to our situation, the way that Sunseam for 4 years has been warning us about this very time. Like, it's going to be a difficult time. Stand firm until the end. Hey, guys, stay until the end. Don't let your merits, excuse me, don't let your merits go to waste by leaving in the middle. Like, how many times does Sunseam say, if you leave in the middle, everything that you've done is worthless? Right? And it's very interesting because in the Sunday message, Sunseam's like, the disciples only realized after Jesus died what he really meant, right? They actually experienced what Jesus said. And of course, what about us in 2023? We never thought it was going to be this bad. Like, remember, when you guys think about it, whenever Sunseam says stuff like, hey guys, stay until the end. And when things are easy in Providence or in the world or spiritually, we're not thinking that's something like, we're like, oh, okay, thank you, Sunseam, for telling us. But guess what? We're not leaving. We're not leaving because it's so easy to say when times are easy, right? But if we do it until the end, right? What was Sunseam actually meaning? He's like going, no. I'm serious. You've got to stay until the end. You got to know how hard it's really going to be. It's going to be hard. Right? Don't lose all your merits. Don't leave in the middle. And when we're first hearing it, we don't really understand what it means. But after 2023, we're like, oh, okay, got it. Right? Like, how many of us were thinking to ourselves, how many of us were saying we had no idea how bad it really was going to be? Like, no idea, right? How many of us actually said, I said that too, I was like, wow, okay, I knew it was going to be hard. I didn't know it was going to be this hard. And we only realized after, and I think that's kind of one of the saddest points is God is always telling us things beforehand. He's always telling us things beforehand. And we don't take it seriously. And then only when it comes, we're like, oh God, why is it so hard? And God's like, I told you. I've been telling you for a long time. Like, this is what I was talking about. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we have to be more attentive when it comes to the words. Like, even now when the words come out, like what I was telling, when I realized this, that's why I was telling you guys, like, when Sunseam's like being thankful for all the suffering and he's going through all this, remember, the student is never above the master. The student is never above the master, and whatever the master goes through, the servant will go through too. Which means whatever Sunseam go through, we're going to go through this exact same things, and that's something that we have to recognize in our hearts too, and have ourselves ready for. Because if you know there's a war coming, you are preparing, you are training, you are making sure you're going to be in tip-top shape so that when the war comes, you will be able to kill or to defeat your enemies. But even if you're told and you don't take it seriously, then you're going to be weak and you're not going to be strong. You're not going to be healthy when the war actually comes. So we need to listen to the word. The word tells us the future. The word tells us other things that we don't know about too. I liked it because on Wednesday they went over the points of what does it mean to reach the end, right? And I like the 3 points. Number one is the end of our life. right? So don't expect things to end just because 2023 is over, right? So there's one of the meanings to reach the end is you have to do things until you die. Second thing is doing things until the end does not mean just hang around and do nothing. It means we have to complete the will, right? So as we are staying until the end, as we are, as we held on to 2023, what were we doing? Were we just hanging around, or were we completing the will, right? Those who fulfilled, and then the last one is, it's those who fulfilled the will until the end of 2023, right? Those who overcame all the hardships and tribulations. And when you really look at these three things, so far so good. We have done 2 and 3. Number 1 is we got to do it until the end of our life, right? So we do have 1 and 2, 2 and 3, but number 1 is we have that one, just got to do it until the end of our lives, right? And when you think about our life even right now, even if 2023 is completed, there's a ton of things we still need to fulfill in our life, the things that we want to complete in our life, the things we want to do. And that's why we have to continue to take action, raising our level, fulfilling the will, make things complete, right? And we have to keep doing things until the end. And that's something I really hope that all of us can really understand is even though we have a lot of different things that we have to do, we have to also, even though there's a lot of things that have been completed by the end of 2023, the 45 years, all the prophecies of the Bible, it's still, we have other things we need to do. Some of us still need to evangelize our parents. Some of us still need to, evangelize one person. Some of us still need to read the Bible more than once. Some of us still need to, there's a lot of different things that we've got to get completed, right? And that's something that I do hope that all of us will get our hearts and minds to think of very carefully and very deeply also. Right? So, when you think about the last days concept, when we learned about the last days, one thing that's so satisfying about the last days, when you learned about the last days, the end times, is it doesn't end. One section or one stage completes and a new stage begins, right? That's what it means to be eternal. If you're eternal like God, what does it mean, the last days? It doesn't mean the end of your life. Why? Because if you're eternal, you never die. So when 2023 ends, it's the beginning of 2024, and 2023 is not the ending of everything. We still have a lot of things that we need to fulfill, right? What's one of the biggest things? The purpose of creation being the counterpart of love to God. But not only that, we have to evangelize the world, right? We still have a lot of work to do, right? It's kind of like the end of the year message Sunstein gave is hey, don't be too comfortable, right? Don't be too comfortable. Don't be too comfortable because that's going to lead to our demise. And 2023, guess what? Our tribulation is going to end? Nah, we're still going to go through difficult times, right? But I like the explanation that was given of how do you know, what matters is whether God is with us or not. And that was a key point, right? It's not about the tribulations. It's about whether God is with us or not, right? So then the question is, how do I know that God is with me? Well, look at 2023. Look at everything we experienced. Look at all the things we witnessed, and you'll see, okay, God was with me. All right. God was with us during this time. And what's going to happen for 2024 is you're going to know that God's with us. God is with you by your experience and by the things that you witness, right? So God is going to carry out his will no matter what. So don't worry, don't doubt, don't say that, oh my gosh, is this really going to happen or not? No, it's going to happen. It really, really is. And God's going to work through the person. And if we want to see how God is working, it's always through the person that God has sent. Yes, it may seem like, oh my gosh, but he's over there in prison. So what can we really see? Look at the words. Listen to the words, because through the words, we're going to find out all these different things that happen, right? Remember, the person that God sends does not come on his own. He says whatever God wants, right? So I hope that we can really understand carefully and deeply what that actually means. And of course, the last message that we heard is about testimony, right? Wherever we go, remember what God said. What God said was, wherever you go or wherever you are, testify. You got to testify. Testify for the man of mission. Testify for the word that is preached. Preach the gospel of this time period. Because this is when people come. People can only come when they hear the words, right? Testify because lives will come and fulfill the purpose of creation together with us. We got to testify. And in order for us to testify perfectly, how do you testify perfectly? Well, you could testify perfectly by knowing the words perfectly, but even more so what the message says is you can testify perfectly by making yourself according to the word. Because when others see how you live and see how you are, then they'll follow and they say, wow, that's the type of person I want to become. And we reach the end, how? By becoming complete people. We have to make ourselves perfect. And as we do this, others will make themselves too. So we have to make ourselves beautiful in body and spirit, right? Make ourselves have beautiful deeds, beautiful thoughts, beautiful hearts, right? So believing in God or testifying is not only just a testify for the word thing, but I think even more importantly is when people come to church and they see how amazing the people are at church, they're going to say, I want to be around people like this. I want to be around people like this, right? So what kind of people do we need to be? Walking with God, being happy, joyful, hopeful, in love with God, not changing, right? That's what we need to do. And when we do this, this is when there's going to be a lot of change. So, just like think about the apostles at the early Christian church. They preached despite tribulation, despite being martyred. But that's how the New Testament grew. And this seems like this is the path. Gotta preach no matter what happens. Run diligently, joyfully, with hope and love. Just like they did in the New Testament time. The new history is here, right? And that's kind of like the direction we're taking is, guess what? We're going to get persecuted, but preach with joy, preach with happiness, and the people will see how amazing this history truly is. And that's what we got to do, all right? So there it is, guys. That is the Wednesday message word study. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. If you have any interesting things you want to add to it too, go ahead and let me know. All right. So that means let's move into the second break of the day.
我看见主的模样 So alive, so alive 我听见主的声音 So clear, so clear 他的爱融化我心使我灵魂安然平静那话语充满能力使我能看见改变的神迹多幸运在新时代里与主一起经历风雨一生用尽全心持守我对天地约定我看见历史前进着 So alive, so alive 我听见话语满溢着 So clear, so clear 主的爱始终如一不曾改变使我能完全沉浸主话语全是不必使我能体会神爱的旨意多幸运在新时代里与主一起经历风雨一生用尽全心持守我对天地约定属天的路我越走越确信感谢圣灵强烈引导我心灵当大有主同在宝贵时机我会怀抱感谢忠诚 时间到底，主啊，我爱你。多幸运，在新时代里与主一起经历风雨，一生用尽真心，持守我对天地约定。多幸运，在新时代里与主一起经历风雨，一生用尽真心，持守我对天地约定。我看见主的模样，so 我来，so 我来。
All right, so let's get into our final segment for today and for the entire week, the first week of Giving Glory to God. I'm excited about this because Daniel did a video segment, so he's going to be speaking, talking about, I think, one of the books he's been reading lately too, but I'm excited about this because it's a video segment. Those of you guys on SoundCloud, come over here to YouTube and watch it, not live, but watch it on video. So everyone, please welcome Daniel Baker, currently in Bali with Until the End.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Do It Until the End podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing 2024. I'm having an amazing 2024 because, I've been traveling around East Asia, traveling around Bali, Malaysia, Indonesia, and currently I'm in Bali, Indonesia, having an amazing time, really spending my 2024 in a really meaningful way. Now, I just want to say, in Korea, it's very snowy, very cold, but here in Bali, I feel so amazing. Even though it's like scorching hot sometimes, it's amazing. The weather is amazing. So today we're going to talk about, and we're going to start off the new year amazingly because you're seeing my face for the first time in a while. For the new year and for the podcast, I really wanted to try a new format by showing my face, talking to you guys, and getting really up close and personal. Okay, but I want to do this because I really want to improve myself as a person, as a video, for my video, audio, this kind of stuff. And I really want to apologize because there's like 1,000 motorcycles. It's like 11 p.m. in Bali and people are still like zipping around in motorcycles. I guess the party doesn't stop in Bali, right? But let's talk about this piece of paper I have in front of me. So what is this piece of paper I have in front of me? It is everyone's, something that everyone has during the new year. What is it? It is New Year resolutions. Now, New Year resolutions is very important, right? Because it kind of shows us the path that we're going to take of improvement during this year, right? Now, to gain a great amount from these new resolutions, there's a specific way that we need to tackle the New Year resolutions, right? Now, a good friend from Malaysia, his name is Felix, recommended a book that I'm currently reading, the first book of 2024, and that is Atomic Habits. And my mom bought this book for me, so I'm very happy. But this book is absolutely amazing. If you want to learn about habits, this is the book, the only book you really kind of need. Okay, so I just realized reading this book that I have been tackling habits in the wrong way. Habits is very delicate, right? Having a habit, or just having a habit, right? Or having a goal, right? tackling a goal and gaining a habit is two different things, right? Let's say, you have a goal that you want, like 1,000 subscribers. Now, if I wanted to get 1,000 subscribers, what would I do? I would work really hard for a couple weeks and I'll try to gain those 1,000 subscribers. However, after a couple weeks, you've probably had a couple goals like this. You forget about these goals. Your New Year resolutions, right? You remember those New Year resolutions? You after 2-3 weeks, we had those situations where these New Year resolutions are thrown in the trash. We forget about them. Now, the reason why we have or we have that experience is because I want to explain it as an iceberg, right? If you see an iceberg, 80% of the iceberg is underwater. You only probably see 20 to 30% of the iceberg. Now, the type of the iceberg, or the part of the iceberg that we really need to focus on when we're talking about habits is the 80% on the bottom, right? What is the 80% of the bottom when it comes to habits? When it comes to habits, it is your identity, right? Anyone can just claim that they want to achieve this goal, right? They can just claim to achieve the goal. However, what really propels you to gain the strength to achieve that goal is changing your identity. Now, it is very important and it's a really good time to change your identity because it's the start of a new year, right? Now, the first way to start a really good habit that includes changing your identity is decide what kind of person or the person you want to be, right? Deciding the person you want to be is extremely important. And how do you prove to yourself, right? So for a habit to be a habit and something that we unconsciously do, right? We need to constantly do it, like unconsciously do it, right? And we need to prove it to ourselves that we are this person, right? If you are a person that is not lazy, we need to prove to ourselves that we're not lazy. How do we prove? We take action, the small action we need to take, right? Like one vote for ourselves, the amazing thing about habits is as we work to make a habit, these habits can be very small, right? And these small habits they can seem very small, but over time, these pile up. These have a compounding effect, and we're able to make a habit. And over time, after 1-2 years of cleaning your room, of washing your face, suddenly, my skin's getting better. Suddenly I look down and my whole house is clean. Why is this the case? It's like, I gained this habit. Now, the first way to change your habits or have a habit the first way to change a bad habit or gain a new habit is to change your identity. So my New Year resolutions, right? I want to be a person who remembers other people's names. I don't want to be an athlete. I want to be learning Chinese. I am going to be a student again. I want to be an entrepreneur. These are the 5 new resolutions I came up with, right? And they all tackle the identity part, right? If you gain your New Year resolutions and your New Year resolutions are attacking your original identity and it's changing your identity, then it's very, very cool because you act like a student, you act like an athlete. And if you act like an athlete, you're going to the gym, you're constantly eating healthy. If you're an athlete, you're like, oh my god, I'm an athlete, I need to be tip-top shape. I know that because I was an athlete in the past. If I worked like an athlete, if I prove to myself that I'm an athlete through action, that change in identity will cause these new habits to form, right? It's very important to tackle your identities. So I really want, and I really recommend to everyone watching and to everyone listening right now to this podcast to take out your New Year resolutions and make corrections. Tackle your identities. Don't just make goal-based New Year resolutions, because as I said, goal-based doesn't have that power. If you have and you change your identity, if you change your identity from a person that is constantly learning, right? If you change your identity from a person that's always kind of lazy or not learning, not improving, to a person that's really focused on studying, and a person that is a student, then you're able to make amazing habits, make amazing things, and really get down your New Year resolutions. So I hope, and I really hope that everyone can change and improve themselves during 2023. 2024. Wow. I still can't believe it's 2024 already, right? I truly hope that everyone can have an amazing 2024. And of course, we're going until the end. Come on. Was there any doubt? This podcast name is Do It Until the End. We need to go until the end in 2024. That means that we're going until the end our whole life, right? Okay. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of the day, amazing rest of the week. To everyone who goes until the end, with the Lord, let's walk this path together. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Daniel, for a wonderful episode of Until the End. And it's cool to see it on video. I just realized right now how much editing I need to do to put this into an audio track. So, I'm going to be spending some time trying to figure out how to edit this, but I'm going to get it done. So everyone, enjoy your weekend. Have an amazing and awesome day, and we'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone.